supernatural spirit. And you either put Holy Spirit in front of it or evil spirit. Obviously, the Holy Spirit is not an evil spirit, but this is the distinguishing mark. The pneuma is a supernatural spirit that nobody naturally has in their physical body. Your human spirit, psyche, is what you all have and you're born with. And that's where they developed the whole science of so-called psychology. It's a study of the human spirit or the human soul. It's the same thing. There's two words for the same thing. Just like having twins. Hey, how about that, eh?
Yeah, how about that?
Could pneuma be translated as wind, like Jesus said to Nicodemus? Didn't he say the wind bloweth here and there, or something?
Well, he was contrasting the way comparing the Holy Spirit's work with the wind. Yeah, sometimes, depending on the way it's used, it can be considered a supernatural wind.
Yeah.
The Holy Spirit, that is. But he's saying, just as the natural wind makes a noise when it moves, so does the Holy Spirit. When the Holy Spirit moves upon us, he gives us tongues. Tongues, interpretation. That's the sound of the Holy Spirit. The gift of prophecy. That's the sound the Holy Spirit makes. The gifts of the Spirit are the sounds that the Holy Spirit makes. Word of knowledge, word of wisdom, of prophecy, discerning of spirits. Anything that's speaking sounds, or even you can see when somebody gets healed, that's somebody praising the Lord for being healed. That's the sound of the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. So just like we hear a wind blowing, that's normal natural wind blowing, so we can hear the Holy Spirit making noises as he works in amongst us. Really quite fascinating.
Bill has something to
Bill,
say.
this is how it works. The Holy Spirit goes into the right in the middle of us, into our heart, to the control center, so that we can receive what we need to receive and know what we need to know. And have that rest. And before him no creature is hidden, but all are open and laid bare to the eyes of him with whom we might have to do, and that's Jesus. So since then we have a great high priest who has passed through the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold fast our confession. For we have not a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but one who in every respect has been tempted as we are, yet without sin. When somebody tries, I don't know how many times somebody says, "Oh, good Jesus didn't know what I've gone through. I don't know what problems." He knows everything that we've gone through, and he did not sin. And he knows he has a compassion with us. He knows, but he also knows that he's the only one that can pay. He paid for the sin, and he's the only one who can forgive our sin, because he has been through it. He's been tempted. And that's why we have the story of the temptation. You see, if Jesus was thought to have been perfect in the wrong sense, we would not have the record of the devil tempting him, because it wouldn't be necessary. But the story's there so that we will know the methods that the devil always uses, because he doesn't vary from what he did with Jesus. He will try to tempt us the same way they tried to tempt him. And if we listen to the Holy Spirit, and we will say no, we'll pass the exam and go on to the ministry that Jesus wants us to do. And so, let's get on. Just finish this up here. Verse 16. Let us then with confidence draw near to the throne of grace, that we may receive mercy and find grace in time of need. So the more we learn to cooperate with the Holy Spirit, the more we'll always have God's grace in time of need. Now, grace in time of need also means you will have a gift of the Holy Spirit. They're called gifts of grace. The charismatic gifts of the Holy Spirit. The charis part of that word, charismatic, means gifts of grace. And so you'll always have God's Holy Spirit giving you grace to deal with problems, situations, by using whatever gift of the Holy Spirit He's given you. Really quite fascinating, really.